Hi, everyone. Welcome to a new episode of Parenting and You with me, Dr. Shefali. This episode is for all parents out there, especially my mothers. If you are a mother who's ever experienced guilt, who's ever gone over and over obsessively with all the things she's done wrong, with all the harm she's caused her child, with all the ways she should have been different, then this episode is going to resonate with you. I'm going to discuss how guilt actually cripples not only ourselves, but also our children and what you can do about it. Coming up next is a mother who is really struggling with a deep sense of guilt that she has with how she raised her two daughters. Joining me now is Jane. She's the mother of two adult daughters, and she says that she's struggling with some major guilt for how she parented them. Hi, Jane.
Hi.
Tell us why you're so guilty.
Well, I think I put too much emphasis on diet and just wellness and exercise. And now I see one's 28, one's 34. How can I, as a parent, undo some of that pressure that I feel may have caused them not to have as high a self esteem because it was my stuff? And some of it you do without even knowing it, right? But I built a strong relationship, but I still have this tremendous guilt. And I know you can't undo things. People have to do it themselves, but you're such a guru. And I thought if you could give me some ideas on how I could not undo the trauma, but be incredibly supportive and going forward the best way to parent.
So let me just understand. You feel that because you focus so much on kind of the body and how people looked, maybe, and you had your own insecurities around your body and looks, you feel that that may have transmitted or passed on this deep insecurity about their bodies. And now they're struggling with that. Is that true?
Yes. Yeah.
And so whenever you see that, you feel all this guilt.
Yes.
Okay. And how do you communicate to them what you feel, or do you not? Or what do you do with that guilt?
I have, in the last 3 or 4 years, built up a tremendous respect by not bringing that up and the good things I love about them and loving them unconditionally and being very careful to stay away from that subject at all. And I can tell they appreciate it, but I still feel there's been some, fallout from that. What can I do or not do?
Well, tell us about how you have overcome your own issues around your body and your own insecurities.
Ooh, good question. So, I work really hard to stay healthy, but I don't put as much emphasis on it anymore. And I just try to eat right and do the right things. But I've really tried to just love myself for who I am and done the work.
And when you look back on your own struggles and your own insecurities, what do you think you have learned the most from that struggle?
I think that I was too concerned with what society felt and, the media and all of that. And that it's not important. What's important is just being a good listener and being there. And, that stuff really isn't important. It's how you make people feel that's important.
Wonderful. So now have you shared with your daughters your journey and that you also suffered? And if you ever made these mistakes in their childhood, it was because you were struggling with these issues yourself. Have you ever shared that with your daughters?
Yeah. But it's still so deep. You know what I mean? There's still some fallout for them, I believe. And I would like to know if there's any other thing I could be doing to really support them.
Well, I think, you're realizing that this fallout is natural. You're hoping that there is no fallout or that you can reduce the fallout, but we really can't. So part of the evolution of the conscious parent is to own and accept that there will be fallout. And constantly feeling guilt about it is actually, again, kind of being self-absorbed or resistant to the isness of, you are going to pass down generational pain. You're not going to be able to be a perfect parent, and you can't undo it. So embracing that is courage. And releasing that desire for it to be anything other than now what it is courage. So you can tell your daughters till the cows come home, I'm so sorry. This was my issue. I went through this and I put it on you. And I think that's important for parents to do with their children, to own that, listen, I was messed up, I was addicted, I was insecure, whatever the issue is.
Right.
I think the more you do that, not ad nauseum, but with sensitivity, I think that's very helpful, because your children will at least be able to see, oh, I'm not crazy, I inherited crazy, right? So that's relieving for them to know that this was generational. But on the other hand, you also need to just let it go. And the same perfectionism that drove you to talk about weight and body or wellness or image is the same perfectionism that's even operating right now.
Still want to fix it.
You still want to fix it. You still are not happy. You're still, going on and on. You're still not letting go. You see, it's the same inner driver, the same motivation is still there. You're still perfectionistic. You're still anxious. You still want to fix instead of accepting.
What if it's something that is detrimental to their health? And I can't be the one to say anything, because then that's that icky, dialogue again where you feel guilty. What if it gets to that point?
Well, your daughters are adults now,
Good answer.
right? So you have to let it go. You have to just reflect the beauty and the strength, and you can let them know you're worried or you're concerned, but it's not your place. You're not going to get into their lane. You can let someone know that you are concerned about them without overtaking and dominating them with your worry.
I have to be really careful about that, even that. You know what I mean? They'll shut down on anything like that.
Right. Well, then you need to let it go and ask yourself, is it more worth it to disrupt my connection with them? Or is it more worth it to make this point? Right?
Oh, yeah. It's not. I don't want to disrupt anything. I think you hit the nail on the head because you're so smart. You're saying it's about me, letting go of my guilt, because everything I can to be a good mom now. But you know how it is, you're like, where was Dr. Shefali when I was raising my kids?
Well, we don't realize that guilt is actually a resistance to the isness,
Oh, oh, got hairs on the back of my head. That's so true.
right? It happened,
It's still hanging in there,
but can I, the should, or if only,
oh, that was excellent advice. Just let it go and love them for who they are and stop it.
and stuff, right? Because it's that resistance. No, but I can do something different, but I should have done something different. And it's driven by perfectionism. And it's driven even deeper by a narcissism that I should have been different because I'm so amazing and I should have been a better parent. No, I was a crappy parent because I was suffering and I need to accept it, right? It comes from this connection of narcissism, delusion. It's this idea that we could be different. And the truth is that we couldn't be different. We were exactly who we were meant to be. And they are exactly who they are meant to be. And let me tell you that while you could have caused harm because of your unconsciousness, at the end of the day, they also need to accept responsibility for their co-creation in this dynamic. They are accepting your trauma and they need to own that as an adult, right? I always tell children, I'll let you blame your parents till you're 21, 25, but after 25 or 26, you have to own your own co-creation of your own misery. So they cannot keep blaming you. You cannot keep blaming you. It is what it is. It was what it was. And now you need to move on.
Yeah. I think this is a big topic for a lot of women because I'm not really a perfectionist. I'm more of I did something that I thought would help them and it didn't. But you know what I mean? It's more about, and maybe some narcissism, I don't know, but I love to be open to everything. But it really was meant in a good way and it wasn't, and that's when you really feel bad, about yourself.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it was coming from a well-meaning intention.
And I think they know that. They're not angry at all. In fact, they love that I've changed so much because they've seen my daughter says 360. That's a good sign. Just changing in the way of don't talk about it. It's right. They're adults. Just love them up.
Yes, but I think when we have to fight and stop ourselves from not talking about something, that's not healthy.
Okay.
Because you're still doing it out of fear or out of, You want to say something, but you're not saying something. That's very different than simply accepting them, truly accepting them for who it is they are.
Do I need counseling on how to stop wanting to fix it?
Well, a little bit. And that's why you're here. Because the fact that you still want to keep fixing your adult children, that is completely a you problem. And it comes from this perfectionism, again, this desire to fix what you think is broken. What your children really need from you is the trust that they will fix when they feel that they are broken, not when you feel they're broken.
Well, you're absolutely right because that's what they say. It's that feeling like, gosh, I wish I could just say, I'm so sorry I put those habits in your head or I made you go the opposite way. You know what I mean? It when you see it, it's like, oh, I wish I had not done that. And even though it was well meaning, like you said, you just want to be able to say it, but it doesn't matter. It's done.
It's done. And you aren't necessarily the only reason why they are the way they are. They are also the way they are because of themselves.
Yes.
So you're not a god. Yes, you had tremendous influence, but you're again taking over responsibility.
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
And that comes from a little bit of a God complex. Oh, I should have been different. I could have done something else. If only I didn't do this. So much responsibility is also delusional because you're presuming that they were just puppets. They also have a volition and a co-creation that they need to take responsibility for.
No, you're absolutely right. There's definitely a huge difference between the two. And you're absolutely right. There's different things that happen that have nothing to do with me. You're absolutely right.
So when you come to your children with all this anxiety to say sorry or to fix it, they will resist you, as they've already told you. Don't talk about it, mom.
Yeah.
Right. So you need to listen to that.
Yeah.
And you need to calm your anxiety. And you need to accept the isness. And most importantly, trust your children that they will now find their way if they are ready.
Yes.
How much can you keep trying to, steer the ship?
Yep.
When will you let the ship go on its own sails?
Yes. Yeah. And I have, but it's still hard because there's other dynamics that you just want to help with and you can't.
I think at some stage, we as parents need to realize that what we think is helpful is actually enabling.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. That's another problem was I did a lot of enabling too out of guilt. When you hold them accountable, they're so grateful. I mean, what couple of them have told me, I was so glad I owe you such an apology because I was really playing you. And I love that you just, always tell me when to stop it or hold me accountable. They're dying for it.
Right, because it makes them feel safe. But when we hold people accountable, we're actually communicating that I respect your authority. I respect your capacity. I think of you as an adult, and I'm not going to infantilize you. So we look at holding someone accountable with fear because it's confrontation and it's conflict. But really, it's deep respect for someone that you're not letting them get away with their BS anymore.
Yeah, and that has worked beautifully, and that is what I've been working on for many years. Yes, you're absolutely right, but you have to be really careful not to be too easy again or slip.
Right, because your patterns are so ever present. But I think guilt is something that never serves anyone. I mean, I should say that to myself. It's so easy to fall into mother guilt. I think we women are consummate guilt trippers. But I think it's also a deep self-absorption to keep feeling guilty because you're like, oh, if only I could do something else. If only I did that. And it's this God complex and a lot of self-absorption.
I never thought of it that way. I want this sadness to go away. I've never thought of it as about me doing it. It's more just I want the sadness for anyone who's struggling to go away. It's just like alcohol addiction or something. When you see somebody doing something that you can't stop.
Yeah, but again, it's going into their lane. It's stepping into someone else's lane. It's this codependency and enabling because you are feeling things for them that they should feel for themselves.
Right.
So you're robbing them of their capacity to feel their emotions and you are taking it on yourself.
Well, the good news is we don't live in the same state.
That's very good news. Yes.
That's great news. So when we're together, it's on the phone and all I do is listen because they don't want you to fix anything, as you know.
Very good.
But you have enlightened me so much. And I hope the women that listen to this, because I know there's a lot of us, that it's something about yourself. Guilt isn't healthy. And the enabling, and I think the whole complex and the self absorption about it is new, because I just thought I was sad. But you really made me feel a lot better. Like, it's not about me, because there's many things I did really well too that they're very happy about. But you let this thing, like you said, it's a self-absorption.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's this God complex. Well, thank you so much, Jane, for being so open and vulnerable. Thank you for sharing your story.
Thank you. You really helped me today. You really did. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye.
Most of us parents, especially mothers, suffer from mom guilt like Jane does. And it's something that's so natural. It's something we do without even realizing. And I always tell parents that as much as we wish to be perfect, we all need to embrace that there is no such thing as a perfect parent. So instead of feeling guilty about who we were not, it's time for us to radically accept and embrace all that we were, and also forgive ourselves with compassion for all our imperfections, because that is as important as any other lesson we can give our children, our embrace of our imperfections. Coming up next, a mother who wants help dealing with her son's separation anxiety. Joining me now is Maria. She's struggling with her 7-year-old son's separation anxiety. She wants to know how she can make him feel safe. Hi, Maria. What's going on?
Hi, Dr. Shefali. Well, my 7-year-old, almost 8-year-old son is struggling every time I drop him off in school. He doesn't want to let go of me. He goes to the same school ever since he was in kindergarten. And still to this day, he cries, or maybe not cries, but holds on to me really, really tight every time I drop him off in school. So I don't know what else to do. I've been doing a lot of changes lately. Um, I obviously fell in the trap of saying that there's something wrong with him. And then I realized that I was doing that. So I started making changes myself. But it's still, still have a long way to go.
So, what is going on inside you or within you when he does that?
Within me, I mean, it's been a long time. So now it doesn't move much. It used to move a lot to me, and I would like cry and be anxious all day. Now I just let go, and I know he's going to be safe. That's why I chose that school for him. And he's been there for 3 years, so he knows. And every time I ask him, like what's wrong, and I try to like understand what goes on inside of him, he tells me, like the drills scare him. That he always has like this different kind of like reasons why he does that, obviously because he doesn't know. Before I used to like ask a lot of questions to him. Now I'm asking myself all the questions, what's going on within me. And I guess the one that doesn't want to let go is me.
So, you don't feel like you can let go either?
We had, and probably this story is what triggered this whole situation. When he was like about 2 years old, we went to the playground and I told him we were leaving. And at that moment, I turned around and I was helping my best friend, but her stroller was blocking me. So he couldn't see me and he thought that I had left without him.
Mm-hmm.
The next thing I know is him screaming, grabbing, the door at the playground, screaming, "Mom, mom, help me, help me." And that like marked like a before and after in his life. Ever since then and up until like not too long ago, like a door couldn't be between me and him. And obviously I felt so guilty for making him feel abandoned, which is what I felt in my childhood. So ever since that day I overdid myself, like to make sure that he wouldn't feel abandoned.
So, tell us just quickly why or how did your parents abandon you and why did that happen?
This is funny because I don't even think it was my parents, but we had a lot of help in the house. I'm from Venezuela, so this is very common, having nannies and drivers and stuff like that. So I would get really attached. My parents were very social and had their own like amazing lives with their friends and jobs and whatever. And I used to be taken care of by all these people that used to leave all the time. So I think that my abandonment issue really comes from that because I used to get very attached, emotionally attached to them, and then they would leave and I would feel like abandoned. I was left with my parents.
Hmm. So you're very sensitive to this idea of people leaving and not coming back. And so this is the theme that you already are coming into parenthood with, leaving, going. These things are already something that creates some anxiety in you.
Exactly.
So now you have a child, right? And the child goes through something very normal, which is panicking that he cannot see his mother. This is like the most obvious normal thing to happen. But for you, it was a beginning and an end, I think, right? You're projecting that it was for him, but it could also have been for you because you identified so much with his emotions because it reminded you of you as a child that you could have blown it out of proportion as well.
Absolutely. And then I started assisting him a lot in like, normal situations like wiping or brushing his teeth. I started assisting him a lot with this. And he obviously got used to that. And now he doesn't want to let go either. And then I keep asking myself, is he the one not letting go or am I the one?
Well, I'm very impressed by your insights and your courage to see that it could be you who has created this clinging behavior because you have become so amazing and you're doing everything for him. So he's like, why should I get rid of my chauffeur, my maid, my court? Why should he let go of all his people? So if you're constantly serving him, obviously he doesn't want to go anywhere without you because now you've made him dependent on you.
It's strange is that when we obviously I have to be there, but when we are, let's say, at a playground now, because but like I said before, like we couldn't be away from each other because he would panic. But now we could go to a playground or a friend's house, and he wouldn't even turn his head and look at me. Like he's very independent when he knows I'm there. But when we get home or when I drop him off in a place where he doesn't know if he has like trusting adults around him, that's when he goes ballistic.
Right, right. So now the task for you is, can you let go and allow him to go through those messy emotions without coming in to fix it and rescue it and overdo it, right? So now you're aware that you have over enmeshed with him. You have codependently fused with him. Now, can you say, okay, he needs to learn that he can cope with himself, he can be on his own. And the more I show anxiety or worry or overprotection, the more I'm going to make him dependent on me. And that's not a good thing.
No, it's not. I am living the consequences of that.
It's okay. It's okay. It's natural that you went overboard. You have to have compassion for yourself because you were so afraid of this abandonment feeling that you experienced. You didn't want to give him that, but you went overboard, right? So you did too much. You wanted him to have every wish catered to and do everything for him so he doesn't feel any distress. But now he cannot feel any distress. Exactly. So you created the monster, right?
Yes, I did. Absolutely. And I've been letting go little by little. This week I've seen a lot of progress. We've evolved together as a mom and son. And in such little time, I've seen a lot of changes in him. So I think I'm ready for, to take on this task.
Yeah, isn't it amazing how our guilt, right? You felt guilty for that one little incident. But now you can see that that guilt came from your own fears from childhood. And then because you felt that guilt, you began to do everything for him. Like you became his God, you became everything for him. And now you've created a very dependent child.
Yeah, and I've even I think come between in the relationship of him and his dad, my husband, which also like in the mornings he doesn't even want to look at him or say hi to him or anything because he only wants my attention.
Right. Why would he want to go to somebody like your partner? Because you're doing everything. You are the 5-star hotel. Why would he go live on the street? Everyone else is just too regular. You have literally treated him like a king, so he cannot live now without the royal treatment. And that is a disservice to your child, right? Now he's looking for that palace everywhere he goes. He wants comfort everywhere he goes. He wants mommy's predictability. He wants mommy to do everything for him. Now you're creating a weak and fragile psychology in your child.
Yes, and now that you mentioned that week, I always say, like he's very strong-willed, and now I've realized that he's not strong-willed, that he actually is weak-willed,
Right. Well, he's strong willed in terms of getting you to do everything for him.
Right. And then when it comes to like me not coming around, then he gets, like all this behaviors, saying I'm bad and whatever, like being all mean to me. And then when I come and say he's very strong willed, he doesn't want to do it.
Yeah, but you're right. He's not strong willed. You have created an emotionally dependent child who, when they're not given their emotional crutch, they lose their mind, right? So you made him dependent on you. Now you're trying to take away you. Obviously, he's going to go crazy, but it's not his fault because you made him dependent on you.
Right. And is this reversible in your experience, Dr. Shefali?
It is very reversible. You can wean him off. Absolutely. You have a lot of time, but you should start now and gently say things like, it's okay. You don't need mommy. You're fine on your own. It's okay to cry. Mommy's going to go. You're just going to tell him it's okay to cry. Mommy's going to go and I'm going to be back. And when you're weaning him off, you can even just come back in 5 minutes to show him. In the beginning, you can practice with small steps. But he absolutely, within a week, you should be able to change this behavior if you stay very strong and you go in steps. So let's say you start this on a Sunday. Practice at home with your husband. I'm going to leave you with dad. I'll be back in 5 minutes. And he can cry. And guess what? You come back in 5 minutes. So you go, see? Now, again, in an hour, again, leave for 5 minutes and come back in 5 minutes. Then make it 10 minutes. And all day on Sunday, practice. And then on Monday, practice. And within a week, you can change this behavior. But you need to be very clear that he is okay and it's okay to cry.
Yes. I mean, my husband and I, once a year, we go away, just the two of us, and he stays with my mom and my dad. But my mom is like an extension of me. So he stays fine with her. It's just, like this letting go. And he started to build his relationship with his dad. So that's, like growing and evolving. But I still feel that attachment. And, I'm very hands on. So I'm going to put all this into practice immediately, which within a week, I've seen a lot of changes. I was just worried that this was like permanent.
Oh, no, 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 no. You've done such a great job. None of this is going to damage him forever. All you need to do is you need to be ready. Are you ready to separate from your child? You are the one who has the separation anxiety because of your guilt. So if you make up your mind that he is ready and you are ready, it will be a matter of moments. Why do I say this? Is because he already is past the age of clinging to his mother. So developmentally, this is not natural for him. He knows somewhere that this is not normal and it makes him feel yucky about it. It's you who needs to now see that he absolutely needs to be liberated from you for his own courage, his own confidence, his own strength. You're blocking that.
Yeah, and he's so smart because when he gets to school, he already developed like this attachment with like a particular teacher. So when he lets go of me, he immediately goes and get her. So I need to like now work also with her into her also letting him go.
Right. But let's do it step by step. First, you need to do it. And then you don't even have to worry about the rest of it. And when you praise him and when he sees that he's capable and you go, see, you're fine. Everything's fine. You're amazing. You're so strong. He will develop a confidence that'll ripple into other areas of his life.
Amen to that.
Yes. So the big question is Maria ready to separate from her son?
I am. I think after I went away with my husband, I came back and I was determined to switch this around.
Amazing. And it's in the small moments. So every time he asks you to put on the toothpaste, but he can do it himself, Every time he asks you for a glass of water, but he can do it himself. It's not just in the transitions, it's also in the day to day, in the moment by moment, where you say, no, you can do it, or mommy's busy, you can do it, and let him discover his own capacities and resilience to take care of himself in the small ways that he can.
Yes. I always have your voice in my mind saying that you used to go like tell Maya you're going to the bathroom. I need to go to the bathroom. I have a stomach.
Yes, go to the damn bathroom, go anywhere, just be busy. And guess what? The most amazing thing is they do okay without us,
Of course.
right? So if you have confidence in that, you're going to make a very big turnaround.
Thank you, Dr. Shefali.
Thank you, Maria. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for having me.
Both these mothers have been suffering from this intense guilt that they did not do things right, that they hurt their children. And as you could see in both the stories, when guilt is present, what that does is not only does it eat us from inside and we obsessively go over and over all the things we should have done different, it also makes us go overboard and causes us to overdo and overparent and overfix and overworry. This is natural because we're trying to compensate for that which we think we did badly in, right? So we're trying to go the extra mile and do more. But then what we do is by doing so much, we now cripple our children and create another set of problems. Listen, I've done this myself in my parenting. I can spot it immediately in other mothers, but it is also hard to break because guilt is a deadly emotion, and we have to really understand that guilt at its core is this delusion of perfectionism, that we should have been more amazing than we were. But guess what? We weren't. So instead of resisting who it is we were and resisting the imperfection, we need to just embrace it and let it go. Our children will be who it is they are, whether we were perfect or not, because they too have a co-creation in their destiny. And, you know, there is no such thing as a perfect parent. So the quicker we embrace our imperfections, the quicker we will release ourselves with compassion and help our children cope with their imperfect life, with their imperfect parent. And that is always going to lead to greater courage, greater resilience, and greater confidence. If you liked what you heard and you want to learn more about how you can parent with less guilt, if you want to connect with other parents who are like you and join a like-hearted and like-minded community, then I invite you with all my heart to join my very special conscious community. It is called the Conscious Circle. In this community, you will have access to not only my guidance and wisdom, but also that of my team, my amazing team. Also, you will get access to all my workshops and webinars and classes and my ongoing new workshops that I keep dropping into the community, all for less than $25 a month. So what are you waiting for? Join my community and transform your destiny. It's called the Conscious Circle. Thank you all for listening to this episode. I hope I see you on the next episode of Parenting and You with me, Dr. Shefali. Parenting and You with Dr. Shefali is for educational and informational purposes only. It is not intended as a substitute for professional medical, psychological, psychotherapeutic, coaching, healthcare, or other qualified professional advice, diagnosis, or treatment.